Hey everybody, Mike Policia here from Metro Property Inspection, and in today's video series we are talking about roofs and roofing systems. Now, we get this question all the time from both our real estate partners and from our clients and buyers asking us, what exactly do you look at when you do a roof? And if it's snowing or raining, what can you tell me about my roof, because we know you can't get on it? Well, in today's video series we are going to talk about exactly what your Metro Property Inspection inspector will look at when he or she does your roof inspection. So come on along. Okay, so a lot of people think the first thing we do when we're doing a roof inspection is to get out our old trusty ladder, hop up on the roof and see what's what. Well, that's actually not the case. The first thing that we do when assessing the condition of the roof is we look at the outside of the house. If you look here, you can see the gutter's got a little bit of damage to it. You can see where it's leaked a little bit in the past. You can see there's some debris that's hanging out of the top of the gutter. So before we even get on the gutter, we have a pretty good idea of what to expect, at least in those locations, before we even get on the ladder. Okay, now that we've already assessed the roof from the ground and we've made some determinations based on what we saw in the gutter, now's the time to actually put the ladder against the eave and see what we can see. This particular portion of the roof inspection involves checking the gutters, seeing if there's material in them, much like we see here, so they're clearly going to need to be cleaned out. But we also check the roofing shingles, the roofing material, to see how many layers are present. We check to see if there's a drip edge installed to ensure that it's been installed correctly. And then the other thing we look for is to see if an ice and water shield system has been installed. Now, depending on how old your roof is, it may not have been required, but if your roof has been replaced in the last several years, that is a newer requirement that should be present, and it's something that we check for once we put the ladder against the eave. In this step, here's where we determine whether or not the roof is safe for our inspectors to actually climb on and walk around to do further inspection of the roof. There's a couple of criteria that we evaluate when making that determination. The first being, what is the roofing material? This is an asphalt composite roof, so we have no problem walking on it. If it were any other material, steel, or if it was ceramic tile, or if it was concrete, we simply can't walk on it, and for two reasons. First, we can't guarantee that our inspector would be sure-footed while walking on a roof system like that. And then the second is there's the potential that we could actually damage that roof just simply by walking on it. So for those two reasons, we wouldn't ever walk on any roofing system that wasn't an asphalt composite roof like the one you see here. The next thing we evaluate is the pitch of the roof. So if the pitch of the roof exceeds a 6-on-12 pitch, it's simply too steep for our inspectors to walk on. We don't have safety gear, we don't have specialized footwear, we don't have the kind of equipment that would be necessary to ensure the safety of our inspectors when inspecting a roof that had a pitch greater than 6-on-12. And then the last thing we look at is there any debris? This is most notably either rain or snow or something along those lines that would prevent our inspectors from being sure-footed while walking on and inspecting the roof. Our rule of thumb is, if the ladder comes out of the truck, the part of the roof it touches and the part of the ground it touches both have to be dry. So if the ground or the roof is wet, the ladder never comes out of the truck. Now that we've made the determination that it is safe to actually walk on the roof to do a further inspection of the condition of the roofing system, here's what we look at once we get up here. The first thing we look at is the condition of the shingles. We determine whether or not the house has seen any sort of evidence of hail damage, wind lift, tree limbs, or anything like that that may have fallen on the shingles and caused damage. The next thing we look at is the flashing. The flashing is, typically it's metal, sometimes it's rubber, but it is a material that goes around any penetration that comes through the roof, such as an antenna, a chimney, a drain vent, anything like that. We want to make sure that that is watertight and in good operational condition. The specific thing that we look for with flashing is kick-out flashing. This is probably the #1 issue that we see with flashing, is that when it's missing, it can cause problems with roof leaks, even if the roof shingles themselves are in great shape. We also check the roof vents to make sure that they are in good operational condition, that they haven't been blocked, that they haven't been damaged, and that there's a sufficient number of them. While on the roof, we'll also check the chimney. If there's a fireplace, we'll check the fireplace chimney to make sure that it's in good working order. And if it's just a utility flue, we'll also make sure that that's well sealed, weather tight, and we'll use that to help us determine if the house has ever seen any kind of hail damage or anything like that. Then lastly, as we're walking around the roof, we actually evaluate the roof structure itself. As we're walking along the ridge, we'll look for things like a sag or what might seem like a dip in the roof, which could be an indication of a cracked ridge beam or perhaps even a cracked rafter. And those are things we'll look at when we evaluate the roof from the attic, which you'll see in another step. So as you can see, these are the steps that you can expect your Metro Property Inspection inspector to take when inspecting your home. Now, something that's critical to remember is that InterNACHI, which is the company that gives us our standards and practices and tells us what we need to do as home inspectors, the minimum requirement from InterNACHI says that no inspector ever has to walk on a roof of any kind at any time. Now, as you can see, as we've outlined, we try to go well above and beyond those standards when it's safe to do so to ensure that you get the best quality home inspection possible.